today we're going to do something that's a little bit scary for me. We did it last year. The results were pretty good. I'm pretty pleased after doing that video. So we're going to try it again this year, and hopefully we continue seeing positive results. So let's get right into it. Welcome to the most passionate content for card collectors on YouTube and possibly the whole entire internet. As usual, I am your host, Jake Roy, 90s V-Ball Cards here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, a little bit of Twitter, and still a little bit of TikTok. I've got some new plans coming on all those platforms, so stay tuned till the end. I'll share a little bit more about that as well. So, enough with that. We're going to get right into the top 10. We're not going to waste any time. But like I said, last year we did this. I was a little bit apprehensive, a little bit nervous, and to my pleasant surprise, I was able to add, I think, 4 cards for my top 10 list. And there were also 4 cards that were kind of on that short list that barely missed. So, 8 cards that were probably my top 20, 25 cards that I wanted to add to my collection is definitely something to be very excited about. You've probably seen some of them. If you haven't, I will be doing a recap a little bit late, but I will be doing a recap of my top 10 pickups in my PC from 2022. We're well into 2023 at this point, but, better late than never. So anyway, that's not this week. This week we're going to talk about my wish list, as we're looking at the new year and cards that I would love to get into my collection. So we're going to start with number 10, but as you know with me, I can't keep it to just 10. So this first one is really going to be a culmination of 4 cards, all with one player. So we've got Allen Iverson for the player. So the 4 cards that we are talking about here, we're going to talk about the 1999-2000 Millennium Men. Beautiful card. So that's one that I have seen. I've had some shots at. The prices were a little bit higher than what I would like, but they're pretty rare. I have one in my collection of Ron Mercer, just as a placeholder until I can get that Allen Iverson that I really want. The next one, again, Allen Iverson. We're talking about the 98-99 Hoops Prime Twine. So that's one, again, I have kind of a placeholder in my collection with Stephon Marbury and the Allen Iverson. They're serial numbered to 500. They do not come up nearly as often as you would expect for a card that is numbered to 500 copies. Beautiful die cuts, very delicate cards. And I missed one that sold on eBay in a PSA 9, which is really good condition in all honesty for those cards, the day after Christmas in 2022 for $550, I think. So, really, I think that's a pretty good price on that. A little bit bummed that I missed it, especially in that good of a condition. Not something I need graded. Backing up and talking about the Millennium Men, I think the last one that I saw sold on that was also $550, if I remember correctly. So, the next one here, the third of the 4, is the 99-2000. This is the Skybox Apex Cutting Edge, and we're looking at the Warp Tech. So these are serial numbered. They are very rare, very hard to come by. You very rarely ever see them even come up for sale. So the last 2 sales that I could find, one was in 2011, so pretty old price. I'll flash up there what it sold for, and Card Ladder has its estimations. That was a raw sale. And there's also one in 2019 of a BGS 9.5. So again, I don't think either one of those are good barometers for the value if you found one raw today or that's in a lower grade, because a BGS 9.5, definitely commands a premium. So beautiful card, delicate card, again, very rare card, very low serial numbered. So, it's anybody's guess what that one is worth, but, it's definitely a unicorn to find one of those. And then the last one for the Allen Iverson cards, the 99-2000, this is Skybox Apex again. This is the Net Shredders. Another one that I have kind of a placeholder in my collection with a Chris Webber. But these are really cool cards. This is when, they started to get a little bit more adventurous with using game-used memorabilia, and this is a piece of a game-used net in the card. So pretty cool, very hard to hit. They aren't serial numbered, but they are very hard to hit. We talked about that more in the Apex video, so that's on the channel if you want to learn more about that stuff. The last sale that I saw of that was in December, a little bit before Christmas in 2022, and I think it was $300 raw. So, pretty good price, I think, on that one. If I can find one, we'll see. But, all right, moving on to number 9. This is also going to be a different player that we did not talk about the last time. I don't talk about too much on the channel, but I'm willing to at this point. So the 2019 Prism of Mason Crosby. You might have seen on my Instagram before you kind of like start scratching your head too much. I've been picking up Mason Crosby Prism cards. You know, some of the lower serial numbered ones, some of the kind of special serial numbered ones, and ones that are, you know, kind of a color match or a Christmas color match, because I think the Packers uniform really lends itself. But Mason Crosby has been a kicker for the Packers for a very long time. You know, so he is a, you know, really a piece of Packer history at this point, and as a Packer fan, he's a player that I have sought out cards of. They're pretty easy to get for at least affordable prices, and he only has one Prism card, which was only in 2019, so trying to get some of those really cool pieces of his, but the ones that I'm looking for here, there's really only 3 that I'm still looking for, but the ones that are on my you know, highest on my wish list would be the Black Finite, the 1 of 1, and then there's also a Green Shimmer, which I believe is serial numbered to 2, which also happens to be Mason Crosby's jersey number. So those ones are pretty special that I would really love to get. I have never seen one sell. I don't even know if any of them have been hit. And tracking them down, I'm sure, is not going to be any sort of an easy feat, but I would absolutely love to get either one of those. So those are both, again, you know, you got 2 cards on that point for number 9. But now we're going to get into some of the stuff that you might be a little more familiar with from last year's list. So number 8, we're talking about the 98-99 Fleer Brilliance. This is the Shining Stars Pulsar of Penny. So this one, the last one that sold was a PSA 8, I believe, in February of 2022 for about $300. So that is one, again, the reason why it's on this list is because it's one that I missed in a fire sale years and years ago. I think it's probably 2017 for like $30 or $35 if I remember correctly. So it's one of those that I wanted to get because it was a good price, and I was just a little bit too slow in that fire sale. If you're familiar with Facebook fire sales, you know, back in the day, you know, those moved pretty quickly. So it's a bummer that I missed out on that. It's a beautiful card, so it's one that I've always had my eye on since then. The next one, this is a new one, kind of moved up a little bit higher in my ranking, but also a unicorn. So this is the NBA Hoops Slam Bams Penny. Those are numbered to 100. I mean, I would be very happy with the Bams. Not necessarily has to be the Slam Bams, but the Slam Bams is going to obviously rank higher than the Bams. The difference is the gold stamp that says Slam and the serial numbering being on the Bams out of 250 and on the Slam Bams out of 100. So the last time that I saw one of those Slam Bams sell, I think was 2010 for like right around $200 or so. You know, so again, Card Ladder can do the math and tell us what that might be worth if it were to come up for sale on a public auction now. There have been some that I've seen come up with hole punches. Those are kind of like proofs or, you know, stuff that I don't want in my collection. Let's just put it that way. So those are ones that I stay away from and, you know, don't really play into the valuation here. Next one that we've got is 95-96. This is Fleer Jam Session, the Showstopper insert of Penny. And this is one that is not a terribly valuable card. It doesn't come up as often as some other cards, but it is a tall boy, so it's kind of awkward. And because of that, there are condition issues with this. It's also a foil card, which add to the condition issues. So when one comes up that's in good condition, I would love to get in my collection, and also something that I would be interested in, maybe getting a graded copy. Doesn't have to be a high grade, you know, but just something that's already encapsulated, already protected. But if not, if it's one that I got raw, I'd probably look to getting it slabbed or some sort of a good way of protecting that card, because again, condition is an issue with that. So the last time that I saw one sell was very recently in February of 2023, you know, so just a few days ago, depending on when you're watching this, and it was right around the $20 or $30 price point. But again, the condition was not something that was going to be in my preferred range. So, you know, I passed on that one, but that's the price range that they're typically going for. I've seen them probably get up to around $50, again, for good condition copies. But, you know, that is one that I'm kind of picky on, but would love to get in my collection at some point here in the next year or so. Next one up is 98-99 Fleer Brilliance, the 24 karat gold. So this is one that we talked about the last time. I missed out on a raw copy at the 2021 National, and one that I've really been kicking myself for, you know, and you know, how could I have known that it would have been there, and I couldn't have gotten there any earlier. But you know, there's only 24 copies, a card that is gorgeous that I would love to get, and it's also just like with the with the Pulsars, something that I had a close brush with, and when it's something that's so close makes me want it all that much more. So that's definitely high on my list. Another one here that we've talked about before, so this is number 4. I've moved it a little bit in the list this year, but 99 2000 Topps MVP promotions. So we've talked about this where it has that gold stamp, it has a different back, it's kind of a parallel, but these are short printed to 100 copies each. They're not serial numbered. It's something that not a lot of people know about, how rare they are, and because of that, some of them have gotten kind of lost to the sands of time. Some of them might have been thrown out, some of them haven't been pulled, some of them might be sitting in dollar bins. Who knows where they could be, but a card that I really want, and I missed out on the last one that came up for sale back in 2017 before I knew about the scarcity. And I have to thank Kyle from Wax Museum for really educating me on the scarcity of those, as well as the rest of us. So after having learned that, I really was bummed that I missed out on this one. So back in 2017, I remember I was watching the auction. I can't remember what my max bid was, but it went for right around $30. Needless to say, today I would be putting a higher max bid than that. So bummed that I didn't know what I know now, and I could have gone back and changed things, but it is what it is, and hopefully we'll find one of those in the next year. So the next one here, this is where I start getting picky as well. So number 3, 97-98 UD3 season ticket auto of Penny, obviously. And where I get picky with this one is the autograph. I want a clean auto. Because of the surface with that hollow foil, the auto doesn't stick terribly well. So it's one that I'm picky on as far as I don't want as much bubbling as you can see on some of them. Something that I think would probably be like an auto grade of a 9 would be something that would make me very happy. So the last one I saw sell would not hit those, strict parameters that I am setting. So it was in February of 2023. So again, just a few days ago, depending on when you're watching this. And if I remember correctly, it was a PSA 6 card grade, and the auto grade got a PSA 8, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And that I think was around $600. So that's one that, again, I had my eye on just to kind of watch to see what the price went for, but something that I would, I don't care, again, about the card grade as much as I do about the condition of the autograph, and I don't care if it's graded or not, but it's really more about the eye appeal. So I could get one that I think looks good to me, and PSA could say it's the same as this one and it's an 8 as well, and that's fine. But again, I'm just picky. So number 2 on the list, 97-98 Topps Finest Gold Embossed Refractor. And this is one, again, that I'm going to be picky with. I want one that has as little greening as possible. And the reason why I say that is because almost every single copy that I've ever seen of this card has a substantial amount of greening. So it's something that I don't want as washed out as some of the copies tend to be. So I want to at least be able to tell that, Penny's in a Magic uniform, for example. So, stuff like that. I'm going to be a little bit picky, but I'm going to be pretty lenient on this card because there's only 74 copies. So, when a good condition copy comes up, a lot of other people are in the same boat as me and they want it, but they don't want it with the greening. So it's going to be fierce competition. The last time I saw one sell, I think it was a PSA 7, was pretty green, and I think it was about $1,200 if I remember correctly. So, keeping that in mind, if I'm able to find one that's raw, that doesn't have a lot of green or graded, I will go for either one, but the graded copies are definitely going to go for a premium. All right, and the number 1 card on the list this year, and last year I was able to get the number 1 card on the list, so hopefully we can do that again this year. So it would be the 97-98 Upper Deck UD game jersey of Penny, and we're talking specifically about the away jersey. I love the home jersey, but the away jersey with that blue and the white pinstripe is what really, kind of hits that sweet spot of nostalgia for me. So the last copy that I saw sell was back in December of 2022, a little bit before Christmas again. So a lot of cards were coming up for sale right before and right after Christmas, and I think it was right around $2,000 that sold for raw, if I remember correctly. So a gorgeous card that has been something I have wanted since I really became aware of it back in 1997. Just a beautiful card that has a really cool history, being the first jersey cards of basketball, having that blue with the white pinstripe, being a pretty small checklist, all kinds of great stuff, but also those odds being extraordinarily rare, but not as long of an odd as the game dated cards, just cool stuff like that, I loved Upper Deck products back in the day. Just a lot of stuff that really hits that sweet spot for me, and that's why it's the #1 on the list this year. Those are the top 10. Again, I was nervous putting this together last year, and not only did some of the stuff kind of fall into place and I was able to find it, whether it's at National or elsewhere, but also some of them kind of came to me and people knew that I was looking for them, which is always helpful. But, you know, fingers crossed that we can have some good luck again this year. Not expecting it, but hoping that we have a similar type of result. So, like I said at the beginning, we're going to be doing some new stuff that I'm going to talk about a little bit more in a separate post, but a little bit of a preview is we're going to do what I'm going to call, I'm going to try calling it this, collector office hours, where I'm going to get questions from you and I'm going to answer them. And I'm just going to do one question per post, and we're going to do some shorts on YouTube. I think they call them reels on Instagram, and some TikTok. So just some short ones, but that way we can have multiple posts, one question per each post, rather than doing a long question and answer. I thought that would be fun and something that we can do, you know, kind of regularly, but also a little bit more, you know, infrequently than some of the videos tend to be with question and answers. So something to be on the lookout for. I'll put a post. You can comment on it. You can send me a DM if you want, you know, whatever works for you. I will take those questions, I'll compile them, and I'll answer them as time goes on. And they can be about anything. Obviously, we're probably going to focus mostly on cards, but feel free to ask whatever you'd like. So that's what we've got today. Let me know if you know where any of these cards are. That would be really appreciated. But if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss any videos in the future. New videos dropping once, sometimes twice a week. We've got looks into my PC, collector interviews occasionally, show reviews, vlogs type of stuff, grading reveals, pack openings from the 90s, all kinds of great stuff. So if that's what you like, we've got more coming for you. Thanks. We'll talk later.